And now on CJC, ChattleBots.
Hello everyone, and welcome to ChattleBots. My name is Chris. I like robot combat, and I'm with two other people who also like robot combat. We've got Beav, who has more messages in Uta than any other human being in existence, and Clone, who has the same idea in terms of documentaries as me, and somehow we've landed on the same podcast.
Yeehaw!
So, today is like it's an episode of ChattleBots, so it's going to start with the bot of the week, and the bot of the week is probably one of the greatest current robots in our time, possibly one of the greatest robots of all time. It not only is one of the greatest in its heavyweight era, but as a featherweight, it's also a fucking beast. It is the current BattleBots World Championship 7 champion. It's Jameson Go's SawBlaze. Oh yes, there it is. Look at how beautiful it is. So
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of blown our load very quickly in terms of having the big robots coming in for the boss of the week. We have had Vlad the Impaler, we've had Apollo, and now we've had SawBlaze, and it's like, well, you know, what's left? And the answer to that is a lot of robots are left, you idiot. But
yeah.
I hope you get my point.
Yeah, the thing, like, I think what makes SawBlaze different is that he's like SawBlaze is at the top of its game now, and not, you know, Vlad the Impaler was at the top of its game 25 years ago. You know, there's a big difference. You know, SawBlaze is, again, like, you know, when I mention it being at the top of its game now, I talk about it in both the heavyweight context and its featherweight context as Megatron. You know, the design is well, it's I wouldn't say it's unique, but it's so distinct and so it's so striking that, like, it you know, you look at it and you think SawBlaze. It's like no Hammerbot looks like SawBlaze. Not even, you know, and no Hammerbot is as dominant as SawBlaze. Let's just get that out of the hammer saw, rather. But despite all that, there isn't really much I know about SawBlaze apart from all the obvious stuff, which shows how much of a fake fan I am. So, if anyone wants to continue the, you know, wax lyrical about SawBlaze, then feel free to.
So this robot,
No,
I remember it showing up in 2016, right? Because Jameson Go was originally part of Team Overhaul in 2015. They were the MIT class of 2015, if I recall, and him, the team from Brutus, they split off from Charles Guam. And of those three original MIT debuts, SawBlaze fared off the best of the three.
Yeah. Any excuse any excuse to break off from Charles Guan's team is a good thing. I'll probably cut that out.
Yeah, we're going right for the throat today. That's cool. Yeah, well, I mean, of course, like Jameson Go absolutely made the right choice because 7 years later, SawBlaze is, of course, like the only robot of those three that is even slightly relevant in, of course, like today's modern scene. And it's the only robot that. Well, I mean, of course, like, if we're going to be nasty today, then I'm just going to say that it's, of course, like, of the three, the only robot that should still be in BattleBots.
Wow. Chill the fuck out. I'm not having you disrespect Scorpios like that, okay?
Is Scorpios from the MIT?
It is not.
No, sorry.
Not.
No, I'm an idiot. I was thinking of hammer saws generally. Fuck.
Well, yeah, you are an idiot today.
I'm ill.
I thought you were going to be like, hey then, man, put some respect on Brutus. And I was going to be like, no.
No, you should put respect on Brutus.
Jeez. It too.
But no,
I don't hate Brutus. We don't hate Brutus. ChattleBots doesn't hate Brutus.
I have no strong opinions on Brutus. That's it. I don't care. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. It just is.
Please
So
don't hurt us, Adam. I'm sure you're nice.
SawBlaze is, well, probably the most striking element of SawBlaze is the spinning element, the specific shape that it's in, but it wasn't always like that. Before that, it actually was a saw.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think of it as a saw, which is strange because saw is literally in the name. But yeah, no, for series, but yeah, no, but for first 2 seasons, it was well, I guess part of series 4 as well, but it was a saw, and fair credit to it, it did pretty well as a saw.
Yeah.
Like it kind of raced through its 2018 fights, although I will be the first to say that I think it got a very, very easy amount of draws in 2018. And that's probably something we can touch on in a bit. But
you think that? I mean, Bronco was it really floundered against Bronco.
Well, okay, I guess we can get into okay. I guess we can get into this now. But I quite honestly believe that SawBlaze's initial 3 wins are probably some of the softest balls a robot has ever been given, at least until the 2021 season.
Wow.
Overhaul, I will accept. Like Overhaul's fine. Of course, it gets a bit of a rivalry matchup. That's a good first matchup for a robot that last season crashed out in the qualifiers, even though it shouldn't have. And I think we're doing this in the wrong order, but whatever. Then it got Reality, which was Reality on a win by then? I don't think it was. I'm gonna have to double check that. Somebody ramble very quickly while I check.
No, that was his first fight against SawBlaze.
Yeah, okay, so right, yeah, okay, so if that was its first fight, then okay, like it's not a proven newcomer. Yeah, sure, stick it against the 1-0. But then you get to its third fight and it's against Mohawk.
Yeah.
And there is no excuse for this matchup. None whatsoever. SawBlaze has already proven to be a very, very controlling robot. It's got excellent ground game. Mohawk is not the robot you want to be putting up against it. If you are trying to challenge it, 3-0 is a position that you need to be at, that you need to deserve. Mohawk is not the robot to deserve to get to 3-0 from.
Like, I don't know. I have the feeling they the selection committee, even back then, were determined who was going against what, like then and there, instead of just doing it on a win by win basis. Could be wrong. There might be.
I think they hyped it up as it being like your schedules are going to get tougher and tougher based on like, what's the word? Real time data.
Oh, really? Maybe
that's what I heard.
Maybe I'm not paying attention to World Championship 3 as much as I thought I was.
That's just what I heard. Well,
I mean,
it could be wrong.
Like, yeah, because you haven't bloody watched it.
But even then, it went up against Bronco straight up, and Bronco was at the form of, I would say, during the fight night rounds, like Bronco was on the form of its fucking life. It was insane.
Right, yeah. So of course, like Bronco, I will give it. Yeah. Bronco, I was saying, yeah, that's a good final fight for SawBlaze.
Yeah, and it got his ass beat. It got absolutely trounced.
It was really funny how just absolutely ruthless Bronco was to something like SawBlaze, and it's really funny as well because SawBlaze has never, to this day, I think SawBlaze has a very bad track record against flippers.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like my immediate thought was the Hydra fight, but that's a couple of years in the future. We don't want to get there too quickly, but yeah, like SawBlaze as when it was using a normal disc, it was good, but I think, in my opinion, the spinning thing, I don't really know what to call it. I'm not very good with terminology, even though I've watched the sport for my entire life.
Hammer saw?
Yeah, the hammer saw. The shape of the hammer saw very quickly, in my opinion, became its most defining feature, and you know, every season that it did slightly better. I think it got was it 4 and 5? It was in the quarterfinals, and then World Championship 6 it got to the semis, and then obviously, as we now all know, in World Championship 7 it won the whole thing.
Yeah. So SawBlaze and I back in 2018, we kind of got off on the wrong foot. I actually wasn't a massive fan of SawBlaze when it first kind of showed up in 2018. Obviously, I knew it existed back in 2016, and I do have quite vivid memories actually of course, like when I joined Discord, one of my far too many messages was, of course, me talking about an awesome robot that would of course like be just like Razor, but it would have a cutting disc inside the beak. To which somebody just immediately posts a picture of SawBlaze within like about a minute. So of course that was my first exposure to SawBlaze, because I don't think it actually got onto the show back in 2016. It was just a highlight.
No, it was a highlight that they uploaded onto YouTube, and that fight was so hated. I remember the dislike ratio on that fight was really low. Like, people hated that fight because the whole fight is SawBlaze pushing Razorback around, and then SawBlaze's saw breaks and just keeps pushing it around. Like, Razorback is absolutely being bullied, and Razorback wins the fight.
Yeah, like, it is one of the most egregious examples of the primary weapon rule back in 2016.
God,
it's not the most, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
Hilarious. We do love old beefs coming back. Old judging beefs coming back.
Well, I mean, it's
Adam Savage was one of the voters for that as well, which I think is even funnier.
Think that is a topic we have got to do an episode on someday.
Just get all the emotional judging baggage out.
Jesus Christ. That would have been my Room 101. That fucking... Oh,
that would have been Room 101. That
was my Room 101. I was saving it for a better episode where I could just have the floor. How much
Clone, no, that's for another episode. You can't spoil the good fellas.
Yeah, we're gonna have a Room 101 episode, specifically episode 903. So look out for 903.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. Yeah. When I'm 70 years old.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for episode 275.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for when we rank all of the different plunderbirds. Like, no, it's gonna
yeah.
Every single particle accelerator ranked, or every single iron ranked.
Every single iron ranked. Fuck me.
Yeah, I think
that's when you know we've really gone fucking downhill if we're ranking iron ores. Fuck me.
Is that just the yeah, but I mean, like, is that just the MechMania episode that we did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was saying, SawBlaze and I, we kind of got off on the wrong foot back in 2018. So I think it immediately soured in my mind when, of course, like when they did the team introduction, the team immediately started dabbing. I quite distinctly remember sitting down to watch the episode, and the team starts dabbing, and I'm just like, oh mate, I don't like this. I think I'm too old for this. I was 18 at the time. I was not too old for this. I find it very funny nowadays.
Would you have preferred if they whipped a nay-nade instead?
Oh gee.
I think that would have been worse.
They walk when they just T-pose.
Yeah. Or they start flossing on camera or hitting the word.
Or they started hitting that gritty.
They start 2C sliding.
Junior Charles. Actually, that'd be...
They not like us. They not like us.
What his antics?
Oh my god.
Which series was it where Jameson Go brings a banana onto the stage and he just like waves the banana in front of SawBlaze?
What?
I don't remember that.
What the fuck?
Okay.
What?
One of the fights, Jameson Go, as he walks into the arena to get SawBlaze, he has a banana in his hand. You know, haha, banana for scale.
Yeah. It's a good bit. I love it.
Oh, okay.
He's got a banana in his hand. He like weighs a banana in front of SawBlaze.
That's some good stuff. That's a good bit. That's a good bit. So yeah. So as I was saying, oh my god, this episode's going to be a fun one. Yeah. So as I was saying, then it's because like then it's Jameson goes trash talk. And of course, like with the benefit of a lot of hindsight, I know that of course, like they are friends. It was very friendly. It doesn't rub me the wrong way like it did once when I was a stupid little kid. But of course, like when I was like, well, that's a bit mean. And of course, from then on, I almost thought it was overrated. Because it was going 3-0 and it wasn't being challenged, and I was like, well, I don't think it's actually that good. And I was in a similar situation when it came to Huge. So I was quite happy to see them both lose their final fight and they're both crash out in the round of 16, especially since SawBlaze was against Monsoon, which was pretty much like the robot I was rooting for that season.
Yeah.
And that was a very good fight. That is still a fight that I actually show to people to kind of show them what robot combat is.
Honestly, like, I forget how like good Monsoon was in World Championship 3. You know, I think it got to the quarters. I remember watching it at the time and thinking like, wow, the Brits can keep up with the Americans. Let's go.
The British are coming.
Yeah.
The British are coming and then they're going away, but they're coming back, I think. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, Blue Tauron's gonna beat all of you. Yeah.
And to be fair, it did.
It did. I honestly, again, tangent. I know we're talking about SawBlaze, but the fact that Monsoon did really well in World Championship 7 as well made me so very happy. Made me very happy. Blue Tauron. It's gonna win at some point. It beat fucking Cobalt. For fuck's sake.
Yeah,
I do think, and I guess it's a bit of sizzle for, of course, when we eventually do Monsoon, but I do think that Monsoon is currently the best British robot.
Oh yeah,
heavyweight out there.
Yeah,
and I have yet
like,
I've yet to see anything that could come close to dethroning that.
As much as I love Quantum, it like I don't even think you can debate that. Like Monsoon is far and away the best UK robot, and
yeah, it is insanely powerful. It's very powerful. It's a little big. I think that's its one weakness, is that it's really big.
Like for me, I'm always gonna love Cobalt, and like on its best day, on its good days, Cobalt is the best in the UK. But like it never seems to go very far in the bracket. You know, like I think if I remember correctly, I think the furthest it got in the bracket was when Maxim was driving it, which I thought was really.
It did insanely well, and of course, Matt Maxim, one of my favorite drivers of all time. So I was so happy to see him come back.
Yeah.
I love Matt Maxim.
We love Matt Maxim.
So I am. Yeah, okay. So I am going to move on to Series 4.
Sorry.
No. That's fine. That's fine. I am enjoying these tangents very much, and of course, I'm sure our listeners also are. In fact, of course, yeah, I mean, because in fact, if you are enjoying all of these tangents, then of course, leave a like and also subscribe.
Whoa!
Like this video.
I
can't believe you've hit us with that in the middle of the episode. I cannot believe that.
I think it's just my thing now. I think I just try to sneak that in somewhere each episode. I think I've done it like 3 times now.
It would be really funny if that actually does drive up views.
I mean, we'll see. Yeah, so we move on to Series 4, and of course, I'm still quite down on SawBlaze here. It gets the first fight of the season, which is always quite nice to see. And of course, this is something we will be seeing moving forward. SawBlaze pretty much always gets the first fight of the season from here on out.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it's just such a fast, fluid, aggressive machine that just any fight that it's in is just pretty much guaranteed to be an absolute banger.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm going to admit something.
Go on.
I've heard good things about the rotator fight. I don't think I've seen it.
I don't find it particularly memorable.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I'm getting it mixed up with another fight.
Maybe. Like, to be honest, it's kind of, to me, I find it just kind of represents just how Rotated would just ditch the thing that made it so very unique and just kind of started lingering as just kind of a not massively interesting horizontal spinner until a couple of years later. But again, that's a bit of sizzle for another episode.
Like, that's like by that point though, like SawBlaze was starting to get really good, you know.
Yeah, so I'm still down on SawBlaze by this point, and of course, like I guess it's kind of turned into my own personal journeys, in which I just grew to love SawBlaze, as well as the journey of SawBlaze as well. Tombstone, there's not much to say. They, of course, like they did very well, but then they mistimed the pulverizer hit, and Tombstone did a Tombstone thing.
Yeah.
But then we get to the fight that SawBlaze started to evolve, and with it, started to change the game quite a bit. And that's the blacksmith fight.
Yeah.
In itself, an incredible fight. I still think Blacksmith was quite robbed. But yeah, this is the fight where SawBlaze debuts the hammer saw, and yeah, this is where it just changed the scene completely.
Yeah,
because I cannot think of really hammer saws being used quite as much as they were until after 2019. Like SawBlaze changed the game for basically everyone. And this is where it first starts. And I think it's quite interesting to see not just the evolution of SawBlaze, but the evolution of the hammer saw as well as
not
just fight, but the seasons go on.
I don't know if I don't know if hammer saws were starting to become a popular thing in lower weight classes at the same time, or maybe it started there, and then Jameson was like,
well, they pretty much started with Megatron. I believe Megatron was before SawBlaze.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, like actually, of course, like we completely forgot to mention this, but of course, yeah. SawBlaze was inspired by, of course, like Jameson Go's own featherweight Megatron, which is a consistent high placer and just very much showed that Jameson Go can do no wrong when it comes to robotics.
Yeah, like Megatron. I think the only current 30-pound robot that can say it's is better than Megatron at the moment is probably Emulsifier, and that's it. Like, Jameson has been at the top of his game in the 30-pound category for an extremely long time. Like, it's which
like it's kind of scary.
Yeah, it accentuates the point that like Jameson is one of the most talented roboteers of this generation and this era.
Yeah, he's phenomenal at driving, phenomenal at repairing his robot.
Yeah, we wax lyrical about Ray Billings and Paul Ventimiglia, and obviously we should give them their dues. But like Jameson Go is, in my opinion, part of that conversation for sure, as well as Paul Ventimiglia.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to be really good at one weight category, but to dominate and to be good in multiple weight categories, it's another thing altogether.
Yeah, and of course, I think it's worth mentioning that, of course, like Jameson Go gets as far as he does because he has an incredible team behind him.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like,
yeah, I mean, like they don't get the spotlight quite as much as you would like.
Yeah,
they do. 100%. Absolutely. I mean, of course, like without them, SawBlaze doesn't exist, basically.
Like you've got former members like Lucy Do, and you've got the current team members like Mr. Stoic long-haired blonde man whose name I don't even know.
But... And the towel spinning guy.
Yeah.
I was about to mention Towel Guy, who is pretty much the most important
like
part of the team.
Like everyone involved in the making of this robot, and I guess generally any heavyweight robot at all, they're fucking smart motherfuckers, and they're persistent, and they
unless you're
they
Thor,
have.
then you can blame it all on one guy.
But yeah, like Jameson, like okay, we wax lyrical about Jameson, but like every main guy in every top BattleBots team, it's not possible without a good set of team members with you. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I know you were talking about World Championship 4, but I want to just quickly mention, because because this fight is one of those moments where you occasionally in BattleBots get moments in fights that sort of transcend the target audience that it's meant to have. So, like, for example, the Hypershock and Gigabyte fight, like that became its own viral video, or I guess Tombstone and Counter Revolution, or in the case of NHRL, bots like Positively Hysterical and
the flock of the duck flock thing.
Yeah, totally. SawBlaze, when it went up against Uppercut, is one of those moments, because, well, yes. SawBlaze lost that fight.
Explosion.
It still had a gas, it had a fuel tank in it, and it exploded. So SawBlaze gets the assist on that part.
Yeah, like seeing an honest to God explosion happen, I don't think that's something a lot of us ever really expected to actually see.
Yeah,
no, it's so rare. Like, I think there was a last Rights versus Super Snake fight where there was an explosion, but they're so rare and they are so hyped to see actual like Michael Bay explosions. It's just so cool.
And like every life-threatening thing that happens inside the battle box, it always seems to fucking happen in front of Lisa Winter. How the fuck?
Or Chris and Kenny.
Or Chris and Kenny, like with Hydra and Gigabyte.
Yeah.
But like
they're out for her. They want revenge for Tentamushi.
Oh god damn! Like Bronco. No, the battle box is trying to get revenge for the fact that Plan X got its ass beat by Bronco. It's like it should have won the whole thing. So
people are just so mad that, of course, like Mega Tensei legitimately won against Stinger, and they just keep on taking it out on Lisa. I really should have mentioned that while Clone was in the I should have mentioned that while Clone was in the episode. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Leave her alone. Maybe the battle box will say, "Oh, we got battle box upgrades," but it's just three extra layers of Lexan, specifically where Lisa is and nowhere else. But yeah, another quarterfinal finish for SawBlaze that season.
Well, I mean, actually, because I did want to mention about the 2019 bracket run. Of course, we saw the Hammerview. We saw the Hammersaw debuted against Blacksmith, but we saw what it can do against Son of Waiachi. And I want to bring this fight up because this was the fight that finally turned me into somebody who actually likes SawBlaze.
Yeah.
Like, SawBlaze versus Son of Waiachi is genuinely one of my favorite fights in the entire show. I adore this fight. The way the Hammersaw comes down and just snaps Son of Waiachi's tri-bar like a goddamn twig is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It is like that is an iconic SawBlaze hit, and it is absolutely incredible to just go back and watch every now and then for a bit of adrenaline.
I'll have to watch that fight.
But then a year later, we get an even better idea of course, like what that Hammersaw can do. Of course, in the opening fight of the 2020 season, when SawBlaze just basically goes right through Whiplash and practically cuts it in half.
So good.
Like, if you want to talk about iconic hits, that is an iconic hit right there. That is the SawBlaze hit.
I'll have to watch that back. There's so much I'm a fake fan. There's so much I haven't seen or don't remember.
Yeah, World Championship 3, you go back and watch it. There are so many moments that age, like seeing that some of the best robots of the era only had a tip speed of like 150 miles an hour, and then somebody like a Yeti at 100 miles an hour, and I was rewatching like, really? That fast? That's like classic era speeds, but just
it's like,
some of the old World Championship.
Yeah, I mean
3 or 4, you go back and watch them, and it's like, wow, these are a lot better. They still hold up, but a lot of the tech specs don't. But it's very much a unique watching experience with all the knowledge we have now.
Yeah,
I'd say 4 still holds up. 3 it feels very weird because it feels like everyone's in kind of like because like it feels like a Pokemon evolution where of course like everybody's in the but everybody's in the second stage before they're like getting to their final evolution. Like it just feels slightly hampered, but like I'm like it's serviceable, but like it just that there's just that X factor missing.
Yeah, I think
it's
well,
as optimized as they would become in World Championship 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think 5 is the one where people really started to like hyper optimize everything.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I think like even despite the advancements in bot specs, but like even the direction of the series was still in a transitional period because they went from ABC, which you don't even have to think about. Like you can like watch like 5 seconds of a random episode 1 or 2, season 1 or 2 episode, and know just from the way that it was filmed and the color grading that it was a season 1 or 2 episode. They changed it up for season 3, but even season 3 compared to say season 4 or 5 or World Championship 4 and 5, big difference. And like I guess that sort of changed as well with the with the advancements in robots, and then you get to World Championship 5, 6, and 7, and it just gets to a different atmosphere.
Yeah, it is insane. If you like watch season 1 and then watch season 7, it is the most juxtaposed wacky shit. It's like watching series 10 of Robo Wars and going back and watching series 1. It is so bizarre seeing just how different things have changed.
Yeah, watching Rex like stumble around the arena at 2 miles per second per year, and then seeing Cobalt versus Minotaur, in my opinion, the greatest fight BattleBots has ever had. It's amazing, and like SawBlaze is part of that evolution, because like I mentioned earlier, every season it got better and better and better.
I mean, of course, like I'd say, of course, like with SawBlaze's very, of course, like hyper aggressive driving style with of course, like with the way that it commits to the ground game, I say that it kind of forced that evolution in some ways. Like, especially once it started getting kind of like consistent quarter and like semifinals, like like I'd say it kind of forced people to basically almost become like it in order to stand a chance.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. I've got a lot of homework to do in this area. Just rewatching all these SawBlaze fights.
Me too.
But like I'm surprised it didn't get as dominant as it did earlier. Like I think for the most part, especially once we came to World Championship 7, I think some of us, or at least I didn't really think about SawBlaze because hold on a sec. Come on, Chess, you can do this. I was so fixated on so many other robots. Like I was fixated on Blip because I had a great debut season. It's like, wow, look at this flipper technology.
Minotaur, Endgame.
Minotaur, Endgame, Hydra.
Those were the 3 I was like very much like rooting for. I always root for Hydra, Minotaur, of course.
When Endgame crashed out in the round of 16 in season 6, I was just like, that, that's really, really disappointing. That's not where you expect Endgame to finish in.
Whereas, yeah, of course, like, whereas I was like, ha, El Bozo.
Yeah,
outside the Minnesota win, and then it didn't win. So that was
weird how that happened. Like you know, SawBlaze, by World Championship 6, a little better, a little more secure in its design. It beat. Oh, I'm looking at World Championship 5. You know, it lost to the eventual champions of that season, which is always, you know, it's never a
season 6.
Oh no, I'm a fucking idiot.
Stotter came second, brother.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Tantrum. We'll cut this bit out. Fuck. I'm so tired. I need to watch. There's so much I need to watch. This is why I said I'd get you two to take the reins in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm managing. So.
Oh, it beat Riptide.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, mate, like it completely like smashed Riptide wide open. Like it just picked apart Riptide effortlessly. It was.
If only that fight happened in World Championship 7, I think it would be more talked about.
It definitely would have been a very competitive fight. I wouldn't mind seeing it in World Championship 8. I won't lie.
Yeah, Riptide. Yeah, we now have a new villain to boo.
Yeah, and I must say it is quite nice having like a villain to boo. It's
always good. Like,
I do enjoy heel.
But Hydra was just more like a goofy. Like you had Tombstone, you had Hydra. Now I think Riptide is like the true actual like douchebag antagonist compared to
Riptide is the final boss. Riptide is the final boss of BattleBots.
All right, fair enough. Like Riptide, I don't know. I don't want to open up all these old wounds about all the controversy that
well,
Riptide,
we're gonna have to do it at some point, mate.
I know.
It is gonna be one of the week eventually, dude.
It is an important robot in the sport. I think we are gonna have to mention SawBlaze. I mean, Riptide.
Like, you know, in terms of like very conventional 4-wheel drive vertical spinners, like, okay, we see them a lot in other weight classes and they do really well. Seeing it in heavyweight form and perform as well as it did, it still freaked us out, you know, like the way that it absolutely kicked the shit out of Black Dragon and World Championship 7. Like, it's just like, it's like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Such a powerful robot. And
and of course, again, SawBlaze made it look like an absolute joke. And then it immediately lost to Witch Doctor. But I mean, so it placed in the semi-finals, and like I think going into World Championship 7, I just kind of saw it as I guess it's nice to see you guys, but I'm not expecting you to go all the way. Of course, like outside of just a general, oh my gosh, it made semi-finals this year and it made quarterfinals last year, so it's gonna be in the finals this year, but it's gonna lose. Haha.
I want, so when we talk about the first fight in World Championship 7 for SawBlaze, we got to, I think there's a little bit of context I think we need to add in. Hypershock at this time just came out of, I say just came out of,
came out the closet.
I am so proud.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah.
I mean, with that close game, we knew something was up.
We are so happy for Hypershock, and we wish it the best of luck in its new adventure. And I hope it helps. And of course, I hope you are a supportive father, and I hope you help it figure itself out. All right.
That color scheme we always kind of knew.
Yeah, Hypershock's here, and Hypershock's queer.
Kind of pinging.
Yeah,
Hypershock is queer. The queers have actually accepted Hypershock. All right,
more like Woker Shock. Oh, good. A bit of context. Hypershock had come out of World Championship 6 with the most viral moment in BattleBots history. absolutely dismantling Gigabyte, and then, you know, basically having one of the most dominant episodes, period. You know, it kicked the shit out of Duck. It absolutely dismantled and made a mockery of Mad Catter. I can't remember who it went up against in the final.
It also basically beheaded Valkyrie.
Yeah, it just like it was just on this fucking insane run. That was just like, what? Who are you and what have you fucking done with Hypershock? Like, Will Bales was on a fucking, you know, a death trail, leaving a death trail, and you know, when it absolutely dismantled Gigabyte, he looked at the camera and did the funny face, and we all laughed. And
we all did laugh.
Yeah, we all thought it was a good giggle. And it also shit, Remars isn't out yet. Should we spoil Remars?
I think if you're listening to this, then you know about Remars.
If not,
and if you don't know, then I guess L for you, because it's been out for 2 years. If you don't know, it's probably look, it's probably not coming out anyway. So
no,
yeah.
But it's public knowledge. Hypershock won the 2020 Hutu Remars. So
yeah.
And it wasn't even Will driving it. It was I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry.
Wasn't it Kyle?
No, not Kyle.
Alex?
It was Alex. It was Alex.
Yes, it was Alex Bales.
Alex Bales was driving it, and she won. Like, fucking amazing. Absolutely.
To be clear, of course, like, Alex is also an incredible driver. This is to say, of course, like, I mean, of course, like, this isn't to say that it won despite her driving.
No,
of course, like, this is just saying that it won because she was driving. She is probably better than Will is.
Like, I'll say this. I'll say this much. You know, when and this is not to discredit John Maladnik at all, but like, he struggled driving Cobalt in Champions 2.
Yeah,
the way that Alex is.
Yeah, John spent like 20 years driving a hockey puck his whole life.
Like the way Alex
he didn't drive the compressor, but that was
the way that Alex was able to, has been able to adapt and drive Hypershock and really make, like, get a lot out of it, I think is fucking incredible. Like, you know, kudos to her. You know, just insane stuff. So Hypershock on an upward turn, you know, I imagine coming into World Championship 7 thinking, we've improved this robot a little bit. We might go all the way this time. I don't know. I don't know what Will Bells and Kyle and the gang are thinking.
That was the genuine feel for of course, like, Hypershock. Yeah, like, I think we're all prepared for a pretty deep run.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. SawBlaze kicked the fucking shit out of it. Oh my god! Like, it was the first fight, and
it was the first fight filmed. To be clear, it was the first fight aired for episode 2. This was the first time SawBlaze was, like, not in the opening episodes of a season since 2018, which is wild.
That is wild. But SawBlaze absolutely beasted that fight. Like, you know, he hit turned it over and hit the hammer saw on the belly of Hypershock, and it embedded itself so deeply that it took them ages to actually, like, I think it took them hours to get it off. Like, they were trying to, like, pull the robot off, like, hours after the fight had happened. There's a great photo of Jameson and the team pulling at one end, and Kyle and Will pulling the other end, and everyone's sort of looking on thinking, what we, you know, like, how the fuck are they gonna detach themselves? Just amazing. You know, like, it sort of, like, shut up this narrative that I think a lot of us had, that, like, Hypershock was on this upward turn, and SawBlaze just came in and was like, You forgot about me? You forgot about me? When it had a good, another great fight against Lockjaw. As much as I love Donald Hudson, like Lockjaw isn't a robot I think of as like
no, it's like a top
a robot.
16 at best.
Yeah,
it's not a world beater, but it's gonna do quite well.
Yeah, it's a great like Lockjaw is a great robot, but it's not on the like the real cutting edge of the top bots, at least.
Yeah.
But like Donald Hudson has been doing this shit for 30 years. Like, I'll let him pass on that. The fact that he's still competitive. 28.
Yeah, no, he gets whatever he wants at this point. I reckon.
Yeah, 28 years after starting with Taz in Robot Wars 1996, he's allowed to do that. I'm not gonna hold it against him. But
Definitely
yeah, SawBlaze went 2-0. I rather forgot about this fight, but the SawBlaze and Scorpios fight, there was I guess there was a bit of hype going around of the whole like, oh, two hammer saws and they're finally going to fight each other type thing.
Yeah,
but,
that was
I
it was
find
kind
this
of funny that they brought the overkill in life. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
that's a really cute reference. And then you realize this is the first time ever these two robots have fought, and it kind of, I don't know. Like, that would have been something you would have done, like, the second time you fought SawBlaze. His fans have been asking for SawBlaze versus Scorpios for years at that point. And I think to sour it like that, I don't know.
I
love Overkill. I love the giant Overkill saw. I thought that was a really cute, like, reference, but if you really think about it, that was something they probably shouldn't have done on their first time fighting SawBlaze.
So I am of the opinion that I think if both robots were equipped with the hammer saws, the fight would not have been nearly as good as people seem to think it is. I think it would have been a very awkward 3 minutes of the saws not really getting that much purchase on each other, just simply because of the way the two robots are shaped. Yeah, I don't think it would have been nearly as good as people appear to think it is. So like personally, I find this fight hilarious.
It would have been a good fight in 2001.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's like it's not like say, like a Dominator 2 where it's pneumatically powered, so it's trying to it's going at a decent speed. Like, I don't know the technical side of it, but like I feel like there's like a limit to how fast the actual arms can go for each thing. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a great fight. I think we should give Zach a bit of respite in the fact that it felt like a wasted fight only because only felt like a wasted fight after we saw the fight. Again, easy to say after the fact that it was a wasted fight, but I don't really have a reference of like what works and what doesn't in heavyweight combat because one, I'm not a builder. I don't have a frame of reference for that. So I was going into this fight thinking like, maybe this might work out for them. Maybe the overkill saw is sharper than I thought, and it might do some damage. And then we saw the fight, and the thing got immediately cut off.
And again, I find that extremely funny. I do find that anticlimax is very funny in this sport.
Yeah, like it's really funny now, but I imagine with how Scorpios' season went, that then, because I think it only got to the round of 32. It didn't go any further.
It had probably one of the worst 2-2 records.
In
the season, really.
It just like, obviously with the hindsight of that, it just sort of felt a little embarrassing for them. For SawBlaze to just immediately cut off the saw and immobilize Scorpios, like not like it's one of those moments that like people just sort of not think about when recapping World Championship 7 as a whole. You know, like I don't know. It just sort of felt like, what's the point? It's like like you said, something that you would probably do in a sort of more less serious event, but with as something as like top of the game as BattleBots, it did feel a bit like, why?
Yeah,
But
I mean, like I've always been quite against matchups that are just simply matchups because the robots are quite similar. I don't think they've ever really made for like amazing fights, and if they have, then it's like not because it's two similar designs facing off. It's just because one of the robots is very entertaining and it's a big stomp. So
yeah,
yeah, like I think this is a fight that we never really needed as much as people think we did.
yeah,
No,
like
it was just such a requested fight, and while it's not, I think the idea of it is more interesting than the actual fight would be.
yeah,
And of course,
yeah, exactly.
BattleBots is meant for everyone, so a lot of casual fans really want to see two super similar designs butt heads.
Well, the casual fans are wrong. This is the mean episode.
There is one thing about this episode, this fight, rather, that seeing the overkill sword again is always going to be nice, especially given the time frame of when we last saw it and seeing it in the battle box again after such a long time. It's nice because the overkill sword looks amazing. I don't care what you
so big, like it like compared to like classic era fights, it's big, but it's not like gigantic. And you look at it compared to how much smaller modern BattleBots are, and the thing is huge.
Yeah, it's a callback. It's a callback to an iconic classic BattleBots machine.
Yeah, so of course, like you two love the overkill blade. How do you feel about it being cut in half?
It was
I
pretty
think
funny.
it was kind of symbolic of like cutting through the old era.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's a great analogy of like how far the sport has gone in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't like if World Championship happens. I don't think Zach's going to do something like that again.
No,
No.
I think it kind of burns him, but again, that's for the Scorpius episode. That will be episode
and like
468. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't know how Zach feels about it. Like, it could, he probably doesn't regret it at all. He probably thinks it's hilarious, and like, good for him.
I really hope he thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious.
I think, like it very much fits his and Diana's sense of humor to be like, oh, let's have the overkill blade.
It was a great actually it was never that great of a whacking hammer. It was just there to score points. Like overkill's great. I don't hate it, but man, that knife was not the defining. I mean, it was the defining feature, but it wasn't the win factor on overkill. But it was kind of fun to just see it again, especially for me. The slot for the classics. I'm like, oh, that's really cute. It's the overkill saw knife.
Oh well, at least it beat an uncontrollable Hellfire in Proving Grounds, but
that is a fight I love, and if you've been listening to the podcast like you should be, you will know that.
Yeah. Shout out to Hellfire and its uncontrollable speed controller.
Shout out to Proving Grounds to let that fight happen.
It absolutely bonkers. I think again, another tangent. I think the one angle where of the person who's literally just right next to the exit doors and seeing overkill fucking somersault in the air towards it.
It's
terrifying. Terrifying. Next fight, SawBlaze and Hydra. I was very happy when this fight happened because I'm a flipper boy. I must,
me too.
I have to support my flippers no matter what.
I was kind of excited for this fight. I was like, oh, maybe maybe SawBlaze could get underneath Hydra, and then it just became Hydra domination, which I was like, yeah, that checks out.
I genuinely like because at the time Hydra had not long fought against Tantrum and lost very convincingly.
Major L, very fun.
Like it wasn't like it wasn't what like the season 6 fight where you can sort of debate it and stuff. This was like a fat L. This was the biggest fattest L it could have taken, and yeah, just it. Like, so I was quite nervous coming into this fight because I was like, SawBlaze is good. Like, I'm starting to, I've been underestimating how good this robot is, but like, now I'm starting to sort of, tune in and be like, okay, I've got to start taking SawBlaze seriously. So the fact that it lost and, pretty much got thrown all over the place was made the old British flipper fan very, very happy.
Yeah.
But, losing your fourth fight when you're 3-0, not a big deal, and it like, especially losing to what I would argue a top bot, one of the top bots, absolutely 100% the best flipper in BattleBots.
It is above and beyond one of the greatest flippers of this era. It's just so high tech and just slick.
It's like of this era, like there are no better, in my opinion, no better flippers than Hydra and Blip, because of the technology that they're using. It's like two new flipper technologies and they're both insane. And so, yeah, like SawBlaze lost the fight, but it's whatever, because it ended up being the number 8 seed, which, okay, a little unfair, but a fair amount of robots did get 4-0s. Riptide got 4-0. Minotaur got 4-0.
Yeah, that's a Quantum huge.
Huge, and fucking Quantum got 4-0, which I thought is amazing. Amazing
Riptide
that happened. So yeah, number 8 seed, not bad. I think it probably we can deal with a number 8 seed. That's fine.
Yeah, fight against Blip, and I don't know if there's really that much to say about this fight.
I thought that Blip was not going to win this, and I think more so because of the fact that it had quite a not good fight night. I mean, none of the seems reasonable robots had great fight nights. Like,
yeah, it was sad.
Which was surprising and sad, and like obviously, like I've mentioned 12 times before in the last 5 seconds, the flipper fan of me was gutted. It's like, oh, Blip's not doing too well. So I didn't think Blip was going to win this fight, and was very quickly proven right, even with the extra top armor. It wasn't enough.
Blip versus SawBlaze. This is the first time ever SawBlaze beat a flipper.
Really?
Yeah, look at its record. Whoa. When it beat Blip, it was the first time ever SawBlaze beat a flipper.
Damn. I love
Blip
as well.
To me, that just kind of says just like how many top flippers there are, as in just very little.
Like
there's had a lot of fights.
I think that's it.
I can't wait to watch World Championship 8 and see SawBlaze get absolutely beaten senseless by Banshee.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Iron on 10.
Imagine just Iron Ore 10 just fucking like absolutely dominating SawBlaze.
It's just Iron Ore 5, but they put little forks on the front.
Not even that. No, it'll be just like no forks on Iron Ore, as plain as Brit Flippers can get. Just
SawBlaze losing to Iron Ore would genuinely be just like the death of the entire sport right then and there.
Be so cursed.
And I would just give up. I would just give up straight up.
Yeah, SawBlaze gets caught up on the arena wall as immobilized, and the camera zooms in on the teeth of Iron Ore. Like, Oh my god. That's it. That's it.
And of course, then just like in that moment, the grin just simply widens somehow ever so slightly.
Yeah, no,
it's like a beast of Bodman, and it like has a winking mechanism.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. Well, I mean, if there's any machine that is the most Brit flipper shaped in BattleBots, it's Blip. Like Blip is shaped it's a Blip flipper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
It's a Blip flipper. That's it.
Even my dad said, "Hey, that looks like Apollo," and he said, "Oh, maybe there's something to these Brit flippers."
Yeah, it's the most American Brit flipper. That's it. Yeah, Blip got its ass beat, and SawBlaze went up against Monsoon.
Yeah, a bit of a rematch, and of course, like I think if anything shows just how much SawBlaze has grown in just those 4 seasons. I mean, it's just this fight. Like SawBlaze takes apart Monsoon, like it's barely even there. Like it's such an. I mean, it feels almost kind of like a disservice to call it easy, but it just. But like Jameson Go just makes it look easy.
Yeah.
Like I think it was helped somewhat by Monsoon going into the kill source, which is never a nice thing to happen. Let's be honest. You know,
that's always a brutal.
Yeah, it's moment. It's like one of those for fuck's sake moments. But like,
it sucks when you're watching, and I imagine it sucks when you're driving.
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of just accidentally driving into the pit. It just happens. You're like, well, shit.
Ask Jack Barker and why he doesn't like to eat pizzas anymore. You know, it's like got his heart. You know,
it scarred him so much. He just looks at a pizza and he just gets flashbacks.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have
pasta. Into a cold sweat.
I'm just gonna have pasta now. No more pizza for me, mate. I'm sorry.
I'll have a calzone.
That's not what Jack
dear,
Barker
we're breaking out the accents. We're breaking out the accents.
Yeah, sorry, Jack. We love you.
We have been recording too long.
It's only been an hour, actually.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But
halfway through.
We can. Where I made an executive decision, and you haven't seen it. We're gonna.
I have seen it.
Oh, never mind. Cool. Well, we can speed up a little bit because the next fight, or maybe we can't because the next fight's the fucking Minotaur fight. One of the best in the whole fucking series.
Yeah,
one of the best fights of modern BattleBots.
This is SawBlaze's peak. This is where SawBlaze peaked, and I hope it doesn't start not peaking at any point in the future.
The way it was constantly pinning Minotaur, I think whether that was intentional or not was a great way to burn out the batteries and get them just cooking for longer.
Like
very strategic fight.
Yeah, that for me, what makes it so good it's like, you know, it's just constant back and forth. You know, it's you know, SawBlaze gets a really, really good hit on Minotaur and like the, you know, gets one of the battery fires or some sort of fire. You know, has a fire start on it, but like Minotaur just keeps fucking going and keeps fucking hitting and getting some really fucking good hits on SawBlaze. And it's like, you know, it wasn't until it got, you know, caught up on the kill saws and stopped moving that, you know, you realized, oh shit, it's over. That's it. You know, like freaking out with less than 30 seconds to go. What made this fight has the same quality of like, oh my god, I can't believe what I've just seen that the Cobalt and Minotaur fight had. And part of that was I guess the aftermath of it. Like both fights, once the robot was immobilized, you see like the immediate, like just visceral reaction of the winning team. You see Jameson like going like, yes, like freaking out in the same way that you see everyone in the background of the Minotaur and Cobalt fight freaking out. Like it's one of those it's like for me it was emotional watching it and because it was just like I can't believe I just witnessed that. It's like watching it's like watching when I watched the 2022 World Cup final. I remember afterwards just thinking like, what the hell did I just watch? Like, I can't believe something like that just happened before our eyes. And that fight is one of those. you know, and the reaction after it, you know, and then hearing Jameson trying to keep as calm as he can, going like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Like, just amazing, and you know, paramount of two amazing, fantastic, like top of the line bots from two amazing teams. You know, like it didn't matter who was going to win that fight. Like, it doesn't change the legacy of either team or of either driver or of either machine, because like only the best can really make a fight like that you know, at that deep in the competition. And like, yeah, just amazing. You know, it makes you. It was one of those like, thank you for that. Like, it was one of those moments that made me think like, this is what Robot Combat is all about. This fight.
Yeah. This is what makes Robot Combat the sport that we adore. Like, it's just fights like this that you watch and you just think, I am so glad that I am a fan of this, because otherwise I would have never seen that before.
Yeah, it made it's you know, I got teary-eyed watching it, you know, in the same way that I did with the Cobot. I don't know, I didn't get teary-eyed watching this one, but it was just one of those was like, fucking hell, you know, like, wow, amazing. You know, and the Cobot Minotaur fight, you know, like, I think what makes the Cobot Minotaur fight just a little bit better is the post-fight celebrations, because it's the Minotaur team going crazy. John Maladic, you know, like, coming in and immediately congratulating them. Daniel Freitas screaming, pushing John away. I add, he actually pushes him away.
And
then goes to the team to celebrate, and then John comes back and celebrates with them, and then it cuts to the crowd, like a B-roll thing of the crowd, and then all the fucking team are running across like different parts of the stage, high-fiving the crowd.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's amazing, and it like actually made me cry watching it.
It is just sheer unbridled joy, and I mean, of course, like, you don't see and like, it's not like that exact level with, of course, like this fight here, but you still get the same sense that of course, like the SawBlaze squad are going through the exact same emotions right now. And it's quite incredible to just see them absolutely lose their minds, even though this is a robot that they have already beaten. But of course, like, I'm not gonna fault them for it, because I mean, because like beating Minotaur, that is one thing. Beating it by KO is another thing entirely. So I mean, like, they are free to pop off as much as they want to, because good God, that is, you bloody deserved it.
The semi-final, Ribot, like, amazing that Ribot's in the semi-final in any competition. Like, amazing that it's in a semi-final.
Congrats to Ribot getting that far. So many upsets.
You know, like, going from one of the greatest fights in modern Robot Combat history to a minute of them dancing around in a circle. Like, bit of a tonal whiplash, but yeah, just yeah, it went to a judge's decision, but like, it was very obvious that SawBlaze had won this fight. Like, you know, there came the point where you know, Ribot was on fire and you know, running around the place. It was on the upper deck at one point. You know, like, not really one I remember that well. You know, like,
I have to admit, this fight doesn't ring too many bells for me, apart from the both literally dancing around each other.
Like, and that tells you how many fucking good fights were in that whole episode. Like it was just banger after banger after banger.
Oh yeah,
Then it
is one of
then
the
it was
best episodes.
Then it was Hydra versus Ribbot, and then banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
I'm sure we
And
can discuss that fight in much greater detail someday.
yeah,
Because I think
Yeah.
it's a fight that definitely deserves like its own conversation, but I feel like we kind of all feel the same about that fight here. But yeah, no.
yeah. Tune into the next episode of ChattleBots where we only talk about this fight for 2 hours.
We aren't that deep into the barrel yet, mate. Come on.
Well, after that fight, SawBlaze is in the final. And it's in the final against...
So...
Oh?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
It's in the final against an absolute fucking chonker of a robot. Huge.
Yeah. Oh, man, this is this is an insane final.
I will...
If you came to me and you said that... okay, no. Wait, okay, no. So if you traveled back in time to a couple years ago and you told me that the BattleBots Season 7 grand final would be SawBlaze versus Huge, I would have laughed you out of the room.
Yeah.
What a wonderful final lineup this is. SawBlaze and Huge, two robots who, of course, like we always knew could go fairly far, but just kind of never managed to go just far enough. And here they are in the final. And of course, like I quite clearly remember watching the Series 7 final, and I was quite worried that, of course, like Fritz-Type was going to win. I was worried that Ribbot was going to win. Of course, like, two quite derivative designs when there are so many other unique robots there. There was Copperhead, there was Hughes, there was SawBlaze, there was Hydra, Minotaur, just so many other. Well, I mean, okay, I would have called Minotaur unique, but like, you get what I mean. Just like,
yes.
Yeah.
Just like robots, that's not a typical vert.
I genuinely have a really good story.
Okay, well, I was halfway through mine, but okay.
Oh, sorry. So,
I mean, like, yes, of course, like, once Ribbot went out, I just entered a zen-like state where I was just like, I do not care who wins. I am going to have the greatest time of my life, and I'm going to love this final to pieces. And I did. This is such a good final. And I am now going to let Chris tell his story.
I do apologize. I got very eager there. So I genuinely, I actually can't believe I haven't told this story before. So on the BattleBots Twitter, they put out this photo of a team holding up the giant nut and the hands like cropped out, so it was just all black. My fucking dumbass like really actually tried to like hyper analyze that photo, and I genuinely came to I'm not even kidding, I genuinely came to the conclusion that those were the hands of Jonathan Schultz.
Oh wow, okay.
And I I was thinking, Huge went 4-0 in the bracket. It didn't seem to let up at all. Holy shit. Is Huge gonna win? Is Huge winning World Championship 7? And that was compounded more because not long after that, and it was around I think it was literally a couple of days before the final aired. I was interviewing Greg and Trey, and I had a conversation with Trey before I filmed the interview about the bracket, and I said, and he said something along like, who do you think is going to win? And I listed off a bunch of robots. I said Quanta, the ones that I wanted to win. So I just listed off a bunch. I said Cobalt, Quantum, Hydra, da. And he said, spoiler alert, none of those robots win. He said, he fucking said that straight up. And that compounded more the belief that Huge had won World Championship 7. So I watched the final. I was given a not so legal link to it by someone. So I watched it before it actually aired on Discovery. It was like on Discovery Plus or whatever streaming service it was.
Criminal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
arrest this man.
Arrest me right the fuck now.
Yar har.
Yar har fiddly dee, as they say. So I when Huge won the semi-final fight against Witch Doctor, I was 100% convinced that Huge had won there, and I had been spoiled. I'd spoiled it for myself. So imagine me in my bed watching this episode on my phone. I was at my friend's house because I was editing a video for him that we had recorded earlier that day. I was watching the episode and I said, Huge is going to win this. I don't see it going any other way. The fight started, and in the first 45 seconds, Huge is dominating. It's making hit after hit after hit on the Tegris. Okay, it's not doing major amounts of damage, but like it's all the engagements are going Huge's way, and SawBlaze is getting chucked up into the air.
Yes.
So at that point, I was like, Huge is winning this. I don't even care what happens in the rest of the fight. Like I don't see it going any other way. And then the tide starts turning. The pendulum starts swinging the other way. And what changed it for me was when Huge was pinned into the arena wall, and SawBlaze just gets a perfect hit right onto the weapon belt, onto the hub. Yeah. Like absolutely fucking perfect. I think it gets maybe 2 or 3 hits on it, and the fact that it did is just fucking amazing. Just the epitome of not panicking when the cards are against you, and just like by the end of the fight, I was thinking like, wow, was it really that close? Like all of the belief that I'd had that Huge had won the fucking fight was starting to melt away a little bit. Like, wow, what? Either Huge wins this by a margin, or SawBlaze actually had won this. And like, in my opinion, I thought SawBlaze won the fight. I genuinely thought SawBlaze won the fight. So
I think if I remember correctly, I genuinely had no idea who has actually won it. I just genuinely couldn't come to any kind of decision.
I think for me, I had to take a break from watching and being part of the BattleBots community because I wanted to graduate college. So I took this hiatus, and I knew I had to finish World Championship 7, and I must have clicked the wrong button because I saw a little thing. It said like World Championship 7 win. I saw the word SA, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Whoops.
Damn. That sucks.
I know. I was trying my whole best to avoid it, and I saw one thing that said winner SA, and I'm like, fuck. Like I could just put the pieces together from there. Yeah.
Fucking
so I knew who won, but it was a great ride all the way through.
I cannot tell you what I was thinking when the winner was announced. Firstly, great fucking reaction. It just, again, like the Minotaur and SawBlaze fight before it just made me think it was the same feeling I got when I watched the final episode of Robot Wars Series 10.
Oh,
yeah, no, it's a very similar vibe.
And I remember the day after, when everyone else was watching it, I was pretending to react to it because I didn't want to get found out and spoil anything for anybody. But I still wanted to react because Pete Abrahamson would be on Twitter and he would always like my tweets. So that was always very validating. For fuck's sake, I'm such a vain motherfucker. I said at the end,
This was all watched very, very, very legally. Don't worry, my friends. don't don't worry, my friends who I have never spoken to.
Oh no! I'm ratting myself out big time.
All of his contacts gone.
Oh fuck's
The
sake!
CJC cancelled.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is all starting to unravel for me. I said at the end when the episode when SawBlaze winning was now out there in the open, not under some NDA that some twat builders probably immediately leaked to everybody else. I said this was the greatest single episode of any Robot Combat TV show.
Wow.
I think I agree. I honestly think I agree.
I can see it.
At the very least, it is up there. It is in contention.
It's so it would be easy for me to say, the Series 10 final was the best episode, and like it will always be up there. The 10 Robot Rumble, rapid hotboxing the arena, nuts to actually being decent and fucking up Carbide, an amazing episode, lots to talk about, but like you're not gonna get constant banger after banger after banger episode. Like okay, Ribbit on Hydra wasn't a banger not episode fight, but it was still tense seeing them trying to like outfork each other. Like
I definitely quite like that opening bout of them like sizing each other. That was very like, chess-like, I think is the word I used.
That was a little anxiety inducing for sure. Like it's like because I wanted Hydra to win, so that's where the anxiety came from.
Well, I mean, of course, for me, that fight is basically the exact equivalent. Of course, that fight is the exact equivalent of that GIF where, of course, it is the car driving up to that pole and it never actually hits it. That is what that fight is to me.
Yeah,
I just have to get it out there at some point.
It's like watching a video with the caption saying like, "Oh, there's a terrible accident waiting to happen," and then like it's 2 minutes of nothing happening, and you're just waiting for this accident to happen. That's what it felt like, But and they weren't just good fights; they were great fights.
They were incredible fights. Pretty much all of them are incredible fights. All of those fights have a worth of just like being there. And
for once they didn't cut any of them out. Like that. That's also very big. I don't think there was a single fight in the top 32 they cut out.
All of the fights in the final episodes of World Championship 7, even if they are not like bangers for, of course, like everyone, they still add to the episodes in a way that just makes it so much better.
Yeah, because
like it is the greatest episodes of any Robot Combat TV show, and maybe that's a very basic opinion, but you know what? Basic opinions are basic for it to have your reason.
Yeah, I don't
I season 8 episode 8 of BattleBots 3.0 because that was just all heavyweights the whole way through. You got the quarterfinals, semifinals, and Sal versus Biohazard. But yeah, this is definitely a contender for just as good as that.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. I'm gonna have to see how right you are.
It's just if you like classic BattleBots, that one episode is just peak because you get to see everything heavyweight, and it goes from the quarterfinals to all the semis to the finale of Biohazard and Sonoyachi, which is an incredible fight.
Yeah, I may have to watch the final again and the Carbide versus Eruption fight and see which final I think is the best.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
But
yeah, so I mean, like actually speaking of Carbide versus Eruption, if we can start talking about SawBlaze again. No, it is such a good final because something that we have missed from BattleBots for pretty much since the reboot started is we never had a final that was just a flat out knockout, drag out rule. We have had finals that have gone to the judges we've had finals that have gone to a judge's decision, but they've always been a lot more limp. It's always been more a case of the winning robot can't properly finish off the loser. This fight was just a brawl. This fight was two robots at their absolute peak starting up and just going until they just could not go anymore, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
I like it was the climax of a fucking amazing episode of Robot Combat that even if you prefer particular weight classes or maybe aren't that into Robot Combat entirely, like it's the absolute peak of televised Robot Combat, and
it is phenomenal.
I just cannot, like, I said it at the time immediately after, and it was maybe a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but like even watching it now, reminding myself of these fights and reminding myself of what the final was, two non-meta robots, duking it out for the biggest prize in Robot Combat. It's just, you can't get anything better than that. If it was two four-wheel drive vertical spinners that that look exactly alike to each other, then it wouldn't have been nearly as exciting. But like, yeah, just amazing. And honestly, I think we can keep it at that. To be honest, I don't really.
I've always been of the opinion that season 7 felt like a finale. It felt like a finale to an arc that was being built up since the 2020 season. But honestly, it feels like it could be a finale to just BattleBots.
Yeah, totally.
It feels like a BattleBots finale. It feels like a full stop on a story that was growing since pretty much the 2015 season.
Yeah.
What a character arc for Jameson Go. Going from
it really has been.
It's just going from this like scrappy young kid who's literally just like an extra hand to touch Overhaul, to this guy who didn't agree with Charles Guam's leadership and wanted to build his own robot, to have it be absolutely humiliated in one of the most like hated fights of modern BattleBots, to something that did decent, and it just kept doing it better and better and better. It really was a character arc of someone going from background filler to round of 32, round of jobber, to just gradually improving. It's very unique.
SawBlaze is the anime protagonist BattleBots needed, and I think that's a good way to end it off. But of course, let's say Championship 8 happens. What 4 robots would you put it up against? Now that it's the champion, who are you putting it against?
Okay. I'm just assuming that like all things go well, everyone who wants to show up is showing up. I think the first fight has to be Tombstone.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like Tombstone isn't the name that it was. Yeah. I think for the first fight you need a big name. But the issue is
Endgame or maybe Minotaur rematch.
See, I don't think the first fight, because like what you got to consider is because like this first fight, like this is the first main event. Like of course, like this is the hook for the first episode. I don't think it should ever be a rematch. I think it's got to be a fight that you
then it has to be
Endgame.
If you put all that into consideration, I think the first fight has to be Endgame. Like,
the issue is that it's a rematch. Yeah, but the issue is that it's a rematch. Like that's the fight that's happened twice.
Yeah, it is a rematch.
Both times.
Damn, if it's not a rematch, then fucking I
like,
guess you put it against jeez. Like I think okay, the first night has to be like a big bang, so they're probably gonna put it against like Endgame is usually the one I always think of, but if it's not Endgame, it's got to be like it can't be a rematch as you've wanted, but I think it really would be Endgame. But
the first fight, it has to be a fight which you see, and it just simply makes you go, "Oh my god, they're doing that fight! Holy crap!"
Yeah.
And in terms of the robots that are eligible, I think it's between Copperhead or Cobalt, but I don't know if
Cobalt would be a good one. Cobalt would be a go, but it doesn't feel like a big way to kick off the season. I really do think it would be SawBlaze and Endgame because those are the two dominant robots.
I think this could be a segment for another episode.
That's
there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of talk.
Chris, why have you done this to us?
Chris,
I have
everyone.
I envisioned a future that we will be here for 6 hours.
Probably.
Chris say, CJC standing for Chris something cucking us.
Chris Janky cucking. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's right. Chris has cucked us.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yes, I suppose we have. But yes, I suppose we have waxed lyrical about SawBlaze. Enough for this episode.
Yeah,
although
I
can
think
I just
so
mention
too.
one more thing? One thing that has gone completely missed. Jameson Go's driving stance is one of my favorite things.
The fighting game stance.
The fighting game thing is brilliant.
He looks like something out of Mortal Kombat or Tekken, where he's just standing. It's so great. Like he's an actual like Bruce Lee character. Like just
in fact,
ready.
Chris, I am going to ask you now. I am, of course, like I am going to ask you on the episode so that we have the receipts. Can the thumbnail of this episode be Jameson Go in that stance, Photoshop to a character select screen?
Okay, yes, that'd be so good.
For context, viewers, my original idea for this was going to be either Jameson Go or SawBlaze smoking a spliff. However, you've made a very good point, Beav. I am going to do that.
Yes, let's go. Choose your character. Choose your fighter. Oh my god.
So
choose your fighter.
What does SawBlaze fatality look like? Like a Mortal Kombat style SawBlaze fatality.
You're getting your fucking getting your fucking brain caved in by a hammer saw. That's what's gonna happen.
I think it's just like a typical Kung Lao fatality, you know?
Oh, where he just like slices the whole thing. SawBlaze just cleaves you, or like Jameson Go drags you into it and cuts you in half. I can see that.
Yeah, like it's just a classic Kung Lao fatality. I think that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
For context, Kung Lao has a razor sharp hat that he uses.
Yeah, and he tends to cut in half vertically.
On that,
really cool.
And on the bombshell of cutting people in half vertically, thank you for listening to this episode of ChattleBots. It's been lovely talking about
this was an amazing
for an hour and a half.
Yeah, this is an amazing
this is a lot of fun.
I love this. I love this robot. I love Jameson Go as a driver, and I hope more success comes his way. And I hope he can fucking beat Emulsifier in the fucking £30 final. Fuck's sake, dude. Fuck. Do it for me, mate. Beat Matt Morris.
Do it for her.
Her being SawBlaze. Do it for her.
Do it for her. Her being Chris.
Do it for SawBlaze. For SawBlaze.
For SawBlaze. Thank you for listening to ChattleBots. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the CJC channel. If you didn't like this episode, please subscribe to the CJC channel. I've been Chris. That's been Clone. That's been Beav. We will see you again some other day.
Yeehaw.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Peace.